Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. Yesterday we talked about the impossible gift of love. Today I want to stay near that mystery. There are people we feel connected to even when they are nowhere near us. Sometimes they're across town and sometimes they're across the world. Sometimes they're no longer here in the way that we once knew them. And yet, the connection remains. That's what I've been thinking about quite a bit lately. Love seems to create a thread between lives. You can't see it. You can't hold it in your hand. You still know when it is there. A person crosses your mind for no obvious reason, then the phone rings and it's them. I'm sure it's happened to most of us. You feel a sudden ache for someone that you've not spoken to in years. A memory returns so clearly that for a moment, the distance between then and now seems to disappear. Maybe those things are only coincidence. That's what people like to tell us anyway. Maybe the mind is doing what minds do. I'm willing to leave room for that. But I'm also willing to leave room for wonder. Not everything meaningful has to be measured before it is real. We live by invisible things every day. Trust is invisible. So is grief. Hope can't be placed on a table, but it can keep a person alive through the darkest season of their life. Love belongs to that strange family of things that we can't point to directly, even though its effects are everywhere. A room changes when someone loving enters it. A life changes when someone finally feels safe. The body itself seems to know the difference between being tolerated and being cherished. Something happens beneath the words. That's where the thread lives. I don't mean this as a scientific claim. I mean it as a human observation. People become part of us. Their voices settle into memory. Their habits find their way into ours. Their kindness can change how we treat someone that they will never meet. A person may leave our daily life, yet continue shaping the person we're becoming. That's the remarkable thing, isn't it? Love refuses to stay contained inside the moment when it was given. It travels. Think of someone who taught you gentleness. Maybe they never sat you down and explained it. Maybe they simply lived in a way that made you feel safe. I'm sure you can think of someone. Years later, you find yourself offering that same safety to someone else. The original moment is gone. The person may not even know what they gave you. Still, the gift moved forward. That feels like thread to me. Always got that connection. One life touching another, then another, without any map of where the influence will go. We tend to think of connection as something immediate. A conversation, a hug, a hand held in a hospital room. But connection does not always end when the moment ends. I think lots of us know that. Sometimes it becomes part of the inner world we carry everywhere. A person can be absent and still be present in the choices we make. They can become part of the conscience that speaks quietly when we're deciding what kind of person to be. They can return through a phrase that we suddenly hear ourselves saying. That's especially true after loss. When someone we love dies, the bond changes in a way that the heart never would have chosen. We lose the ordinary things first. The sound of the phone, the familiar knock, the easy assumption that there will be another conversation. That absence can feel enormous, and it does. But love does not vanish along with the person's physical presence. It becomes harder to find. At first, it may seem trapped inside the pain. Over time, something shifts. The memory still hurts, but it also begins to carry warmth again. You remember the way they laughed, and you catch yourself thinking of what they would say in certain circumstances. A part of them seems to return through the love that they left behind. I don't think that that's pretending either. I think it's one of the ways that the bond continues. It's a living force, guys, and they're still in it. The relationship is no longer happening in the same form, but it has not become nothing, has it? That distinction matters. Grief often makes people feel as if the love has nowhere to go. Maybe it goes into the thread. Maybe it becomes part of the unseen structure holding us up. We carry the people we have loved into places they never visited. Their influence enters rooms through us. Their tenderness may reach someone born long after they were gone. That sounds almost impossible, I know. Yet it happens. A grandmother teaches a child patience. The child grows up, becomes a patient parent. Years later, another child feels safe because of a woman that they never knew. Where did the original kindness end? I'm not sure it did, guys. I don't believe it did. It changed hands is all. The same thing happens with friendship. Someone believes in you at a time when you cannot quite believe in yourself. They say something that seems small to them. You carry it for years. Then one day, you offer that same kind of encouragement to someone who is struggling. The thread? The thread moves again. This is one reason that I believe love is larger than emotion. Emotion rises and falls. The thread? Well, the thread stays. It may become quiet for a long time. Life gets busy. People drift apart. The years create distance. Then something pulls gently. A song, a smell, a place you've not visited since childhood. Suddenly, the connection is alive again. Not exactly as it was. Nothing returns unchanged. But enough remains to remind you that love once passed through that place. Maybe that's why certain rooms feel different after someone leaves them. The room has not changed much. The furniture may still be where it was. But the person who gave the room meaning is gone, and the emptiness becomes almost physical. We feel the outline of what used to be there. But guess what? That outline, it is love too. Absence can reveal the shape of a bond we hardly noticed while we were living inside it. There's something both painful and beautiful in that, isn't there? The heart keeps making connections even though it knows connection creates the possibility of loss. and we do it anyway. We let people matter. We give them access to parts of us that could one day ache. That may be one of the bravest things human beings do without thinking of it as bravery. Love. Love asks us to live with an open door. Some people enter briefly. Others stay for most of a lifetime. A few seem to remain even after they're gone. The thread does not make every relationship easy. It does not mean that every connection is healthy either. Sometimes love requires distance. Sometimes the most loving thing a person can do is step away from harm. The thread I'm talking about is not a chain. It does not imprison. It's closer to a current, something that carries meaning between lives, even when those lives take different paths. And I wonder how far that current reaches. Could a kindness offered today still be moving 100 years from now? I think we know that answer is yes. Could love survive in ways that we'll never be able to trace? Could something gentle you do this morning become part of a life that you will never see? I think it can, guys. Not because love guarantees a perfect outcome, because it doesn't. But love changes the conditions around a person. It can make fear loosen its grip. It can give someone one more reason to remain soft. It can interrupt a pattern of harm before it reaches the next generation. We may never know when that happens. Likely we probably won't. Most love works without an audience. Its deepest effects may be hidden even from the person who offered it, and that doesn't make them less real. Some of the most important threads in our lives are the ones we only notice when we look back. Like the teacher who made us feel capable. I've got a few of those. The friend who stayed through an ugly season. The family member whose quiet steadiness became part of our own. At the time, it may have felt ordinary. Years later, we understand. They were helping hold us together. Maybe someone remembers us that way too. And that's a humbling thought, isn't it? We don't always know when we're becoming part of another person's inner world. A word spoken casually may stay with them. The patience we offer on an ordinary afternoon may become their evidence that kindness still exists. We move through one another's lives, leaving traces. Love makes those traces luminous. I like to imagine that no sincere act of love is entirely lost. In fact, I don't believe it is, imagination or otherwise. It may disappear from our view. It may take a form that we never recognize, but somewhere it continues. And it's not a reward and not a cosmic scoreboard. It continues simply as part of the way that lives influence lives. And that may be enough of a miracle, don't you think? We don't have to prove an invisible thread exists in order to feel gratitude for it. I use these terms loosely. We can honor the people who remain present in us. We can notice how their love still moves through our hands and voices. We can become more careful with what we pass along, because every life is receiving something and giving something back. Today, maybe we can pause and think of one person who still feels connected to us across distance or time. I can stop and think of many. someone whose love has not gone quiet. You may not be able to call them, and you may not know where they are now. You may only carry them in memory, but the thread remains. It's very something, it's a miracle. And perhaps your life has become one of the places where their love continues to exist. Thank you, guys. Thank you for spending this time with me on Infinite Threads. Some connections are easy to see. Others live beneath the surface of our days. Love keeps reaching through both. And maybe the miracle is not that the thread can never be broken. Maybe the miracle is that even after so much distance, we can still feel it pulling gently from the other side. I love you guys very, very much. And you know what I need you to do. Go out and pass that on, okay? Later, Gators. Bye-bye.
Fears